We're back at it again, reacting to the history of Fortnite chapter.
Loved it or hated it, but there's no denying that Fortnite completely evolved into something no one was expecting. I mean, how do we go from this to this? Well, that story begins all the way back in Chapter 2, Season 1. The day that blew every single Fortnite player's minds to go from the old Chapter 1 map to a completely brand new world, it was unimaginable. There were new graphics, a fresh new bright style for the game, and the loot pool was changed completely. We had new designs for all the classic Fortnite items, as well as the introduction of the first ever 2-slot item, the bandage bazooka. One of the biggest changes of the entire season was that water was now a feature in Fortnite. You can now get fishing rods and actually find fish in lakes and rivers, including a super rare fish known as the mythic goldfish. And by rare, I mean rare. This thing had a 1 in a million chance to be found, but it instantly eliminated anyone you threw it at, and it's still in the game to this day. As Season 1 decided to blow away everyone even further when they added the first ever Icon series skin to the game. It was, of course, the Ninja. We all wanted to get a skin in the game for years at that point. The crossovers continued, and the first ever live event of Chapter 1 happened with Live at Risky Reels. We all got ourselves ready in preparation for a new Star Wars live event. It was actually pretty cool. We got an insane intro with Star Destroyers in the sky and even lightsabers. But Season 1 wasn't without its faults. It was the longest season in the history of Fortnite. It lasted an entire 128 days. It was supposed to end in December of 2019, but Epic delayed the season by 3 whole months, and finally on February 20th, we were thrown into Chapter 2, Season 2. Just when everyone thought that 4-month-long seasons were past us, we were given Chapter 2, Season 2, which lasted almost the same length as Season 1, just 10 days shorter. Now, luckily, Season 2 had a lot more content for us to play around with. The season began with 2 new factions, Ghost and Shadow, and throughout the season, Ghost and Shadow were in a war over who owned what parts of the map, and we as the players were the direct influence over it. And this also extended to the Battle Pass. Each skin in the pass had a Ghost and a Shadow variant, and you had to choose one or the other. Depending on what the majority chose, that would determine who was winning the season. And Season 2's Battle Pass is considered by the community to be one of the best in all of Chapter 2. You had Agent Bailey, Brutus, Tiantina, Silk Sky, and of course, Midas. Like I said, depending on how many people chose Ghost or Shadow, it would change the POIs on the map. And speaking of the POIs, there were a ton of new ones, a lot of which are still on the island to this day. Inside of these POIs were NPCs of all the Battle Pass skins, when you fight them for loot, and if you kill one of the bosses, they would drop a key card, and you can then
I don't think I truly knew relaxation until I started playing Buka. It's such a peaceful game, yet there are always levels to beat. If you want a challenge, them for loot, and if you kill one of the bosses, they would drop a key card that you could then use to unlock a nearby vault, and let me tell you, people love this thing. This was also got a ridiculous amount of mythics like the drum gun, or even a boom bow. It was nuts. Over on the island, you can now find places like an entire yacht, which is guarded by Meowscles. So then there was the grotto, a secret shadow facility built into a mountain that was guarded by Brutus. Over on the other side of the map, the shark was added, and this was a huge mansion owned by Sky. It was directly taken from a mobile game Epic Games had called Spy Kids. Eventually, though, the community overwhelmingly chose Sky's Ghost variant, and it turned her mansion into a completely new POI. Now, it was a huge prison complex owned by Ghost and guarded by Sky and her new Ghost henchmen. It was awesome. Over in the waters, you could also find an oil rig owned by Tiantina. But by far, the most important POI of Season 2 was the Agency, the center of everything. Season 2 also gave us new items like crash pads, secret passages, being able to throw consumables, and most importantly, a whole new vehicle, Choppas. There was a lot in this season, especially if you include the fact that the Battle Pass gave us a crossover skin in the form of Deadpool. Since then, almost every single secret skin has been a crossover. And speaking of collabs, we got our first ever concert of the chapter in Season 2 when Travis Scott took to the stage and performed his astronomical experience. This blew everyone away, and it was eventually followed up by another live event in the same season over at the Agency, the Device event. This live event kickstarted the Fortnite Chapter 2 storyline, introduced us to John Jones, and was the setup for Chapter 2, Season 3. And this season was a cool change from the last two, because Season 1 and 2 were so long and had so much stuff, Season 3 decided to give us a break from it all. It was relatively simple. We had no live event, no big crossovers. However, we did have some neat map changes. At the start of the season, the entire Fortnite map was flooded as a result of the Device event in Season 2, but luckily, over time, the water drained, and each week, a new map change was revealed. We had new POIs like Catty Corner, Rickety Rig, the Fortilla, and most important of all, the Authority. And then closer to the end of the season, Aquaman appeared in the Battle Pass out of nowhere and brought along his own water-themed POI called the Coral Castle. And to this day, it is still the most hated POI on the entire map. To fit with the water theme, Season 3 added sharks that you could ride or kill for loot, as well as new guns like the Charged Shotgun and Rapid-Fire SMG. There were also Marauders who would now drop onto the map and try to kill you. Almost everyone still has Stink Bomb PTSD to this day from these guys. But once the island drained, even more stuff was revealed. Yes, we had fire added to Fortnite, and you can start fires using fireflies and gas cans. But along with these gas cans came one of the most requested Fortnite features of all time, cars, and they were fully drivable. But Season 3 wasn't without any controversy. It was during this season that Epic Games added their own payment system to the iOS and Android versions of the game. This resulted in Fortnite being completely banned from the App Store. Lawsuits were sent out to Apple and Google. Lucky for non-mobile players, though, something exciting was on the horizon. Just south of Salty Springs, a crater appeared, and inside of it was an item that changed Fortnite forever and led us straight into Chapter 2, Season 4. And here we are, our first ever crossover season. Season 4 was taken over by Marvel, and the entire Battle Pass is filled with superheroes and villains, and the island was transformed into a Marvel-themed map. But we were absolutely not starving for content. Season 4 was jam-packed full of mythics and POIs. I mean, we had over 12 mythics and 11 new POIs in the map, and that wasn't even including the fact that Season 4 gave us one of the most ambitious live events of the chapter. Throughout the entire season, we were all waiting for Galactus, a planet-sized villain, to head to the island, and we prepared to fight him with the help from Marvel superheroes. The Battle Pass skins all had transformation emotes, and we even got new Icon Series skins like Lachlan and Loser Fruit. And during all of this, we even managed to fit in a Fortnitemares event, with Midas returning as Shadow Midas. But Fortnite really took the crossovers and dialed it to 11 with Chapter 2, Season 5. Just when you thought that an entire season dedicated to Marvel was the start of the metaverse, Chapter 2 Season 5 was an entirely original Fortnite season that was centered around collaborations. You see, the Zero Point had been exposed by Galactus in the Season 4 finale event. Because of this, John Jones had to recruit hunters from realities across the multiverse in order to keep control of the Zero Point. It started with a gang of original hunters like Man King, Lexa, Reese, Maeve, Condor, and Menace. But joining them were some familiar faces from Star Wars, the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda. Mando also brought a new POI with him, as well as a mythic jetpack and sniper rifle. And so with these new hunters coming to the map, their own realities were also brought to the island. Menace brought Colossal Coliseum, while a lot of the hunters moved into a new place called Hunter's Haven. We also had Stealthy Stronghold, which belonged to a Predator, the secret skin for the season, and Butter Barn, which was a restaurant owned by Man King. I mean, there was a lot in here. That's ignoring the fact that Fortnite turned half the map into a desert and let us tunnel underneath the sand to move around. And this also introduced a new mechanic called Gold. You can earn gold through bounties or opening chests, and then spend it on items by talking to NPCs. There were new fish like the Zero Point Fish and the Rift Fish, as well as a new shotgun that set you on fire. Meanwhile, in the Icon series, Laserbeam and Graph joined the fight, and this was all on top of a holiday-themed event where we got the return of Blaine's Presence and Sneaky Snowman. But obviously, everyone knows Season 5 for one thing only, the hunters that came after the Battle Pass. Throughout the whole season, our minds were blown every single week as Fortnite delivered a new crossover. Kratos and Master Chief, the two mascots for PlayStation and Xbox, and then we had skins from The Walking Dead, Marvel and DC, and that wasn't before we got to play as characters from classic 80s franchises like Terminator, Tron, Street Fighter, Snake Eyes, Alien, and Predator. It all kicked off when John Jones decided to turn his back on the Imagined Order and introduced us to Chapter 2, Season 6. And Season 6 completely changed Fortnite in a way that none of us were expecting. When you loaded into the game, you were given your own personal live event where you had to work with John Jones and the Foundation to steal the Zero Point, and it was amazing. But as a result of this event, half of the map was completely transformed. Now the island was primal themed, which included new trees, an entirely different loot pool in the center of the map, and a big POI named The Spire. And I guess we can't forget the introduction of wildlife. Now you can find animals running around like chickens, boars, wolves, even raptors. Season 6 also brought something to Fortnite that no one would have ever predicted, and that was crafting. You can now upgrade makeshift weapons to primal rarity, and for regular weapons, some of them were able to be side-graded into different versions. As for the cars, Season 6 upgraded them by adding Chonkers off-road tires, and now you can mod your car and drive off-road, fitting for the primal terrain. And for people who love sniping, they hated this season because every single sniper in the game was removed and eventually replaced with bows. We had stink bows, flame bows, explosive bows, but by far the most popular one was the shockwave bow. And the collabs did us slow down with Season 6. Despite the Primal map, we still got collabs from DC like Raven, Harley Quinn, Beast Boy, and Batman. We also had Lara Croft and Aloy added to the Gaming Legends series, and sports figures like Neymar Jr. and NBA skins were released. But as the season came to an end, the community began noticing something that was coming, and it wasn't of this world, which leads us to Chapter 2, Season 7. And this seemed like one of the most random seasons of all time when it was released. We just had a Primal season with bows and dinosaurs, and out of nowhere, boom, aliens. But this is Fortnite. It's kind of hard to question it. It's just how the game goes. So at the start of Season 7, a huge mothership appeared above the island, completely destroying all traces of the Primal map. Instead, it left a huge crater in the center of the island and began moving around, abducting POIs throughout the season. And people had sweaty sands.
Download and solve the puzzles now.
The people at Sweaty Sands began to worship the aliens, converting it into Believer Beach while the Imagined Order set up a headquarters underneath Corny Crops. Now, Season 7's Battle Pass was extremely unique. Tier 1 gave us another customizable skin like Season 2's Maya, but this time it was the Chimera. You could make your own alien. But the two most popular skins in Season 7 were, of course, Dr. Sloan, the leader of the IO, and Rick Sanchez. Yeah, that one was a real shocker. We were not expecting him to show up, but as for the Seeker skin, it was none other than Superman. And so with all of this tech on the island, we had one of the most fun loot pools of Chapter 2. We were able to run around with rail guns, recon scanners, ray guns, but also unique items like the inflatable, Propifier, and Gravitron. Later in the season, two iconic Marvel characters appeared in the shop. Thanos finally dropped as a skin after years since his first appearance, and Loki was a part of the Fortnite crew to promote his Disney Plus show. The Whiplash cars were also replaced with Ferraris, which is probably one of the coolest crossovers of the whole chapter. And so was the release of LeBron James and a Space Jam set. But by far, the thing everyone talked about for Season 7 was the concert. We were treated to an insanely reactive concert in Season 7 hosted by Ariana Grande. It included us fighting the Storm King, exploring new realities, and the jamming to a small performance by Ariana. But this wasn't even the biggest live event of the season. A month later, Season 7 ended with Operation Skyfire, where it was revealed that the IO had planted bombs underneath Corny Crop so that the mothership could abduct it. And so we boarded the ship, getting ready to make sure they exploded. But unfortunately, we were betrayed by Sloan and left to die. But not before realizing that this entire time, the mothership was powered by thousands of cubes. Once the bombs exploded, the mothership was blown to pieces, and we all fell down onto the island, and that's when Chapter 2, Season 8 began. And here we are, the current season. In Season 8, the cubes have fallen from the mothership and created crash sites all over the island. And throughout the season, the golden cube went and activated each Kevin and made more of them. There's also the blue cube from Operation Skyfire chilling near Camp Cod, and it's been glowing more and more every day. Meanwhile, the original Kevin the Cube has broken out of Steamy Stacks and joined the Cube Queen and her army. And a few weeks ago, they all formed together to create the Convergence, a town of cubes. And just this week, the Convergence transformed into the Pyramid. Now, while all of this has been happening, the Cube Queen has been summoning creatures from her homeworld onto the island through portals known as the Sideways. This has resulted in a ton of new weapons like Sideways rifles, miniguns, and scythes. Of course, we can't forget the Icy Grappler, the return of mechs from Season X, and new combat weapons. Not to mention the fact that Epic had brought back traps starting with the Armored Walls. As for the Battle Pass and crossovers, this season's Tier 100 skin is Carnage, and he had his own mythic symbiote along with Venom earlier in the season. There was also a huge collaboration with Naruto this week, which brought Team 7 onto the island along with a new mythic kunai weapon. And for the future of Season 8, we have to pay attention to the Cube Queen. Everything ties back to her. She is going to use the power of the pyramid to turn the whole map corrupted, and while she does that, the Imagined Order have opened up the Redacted Bunker and are going to fortify it, ready to fight the Queen. All of this is gearing up for the Chapter 2 finale live event, which will feature the return of the Foundation and John Jones, as well as the lead up to Chapter 3, which begins on December 7th. And keep in mind, this is just the history of Chapter 2, not the storyline. Guess what? That video will drop next week. Hope you guys enjoyed. It's been Tommy, and keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.
I hope you guys did enjoy that video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.